What is going on today, everybody? How are we doing? It is Ben Morgan of the Fins Up Network. Joint practice number 1 of 2 against the Atlanta Falcons is in the books. That's what happened on Tuesday. We've got one more against them on Wednesday before that preseason opener on Friday. By all accounts, a solid overall day for your Miami Dolphins. A really good day for this Dolphins defense, especially when they were going against Kirk Cousins and that Falcons #1 unit. However, there's always got to be a however or a but, right? The biggest question mark on this Miami Dolphins offense remained just that, which is kind of a question mark. We're going to jump into all that here in a second. Before we do, let's hear from you, your thoughts on the first of 2 Dolphins and Falcons joint practices, who maybe you are looking forward to watching in that preseason game on Friday. Go ahead, drop all of that in the comments. If you've got any questions, anything else, drop that in the comments as well. If you haven't gotten subscribed yet, do that as well. Let's start with a quick attendance report because I got one quick nugget on one of these guys. Jaylen Waddle, Braxton Berrios, Erik Ezukanma, Savon Ahmed, Anthony Walker, Jordan Brooks, Mohamed Kamara, Jordan Poyer. None of those guys spotted at today's practice. A couple of them were out there, just nothing, no participation from those guys. I asked about Jaylen Waddle and said, hey, there's really nothing to see here. It was a true rest day, an opportunity to see what some other wide receivers can do, especially against another team. So we're thinking that there's probably a good shot that he's going to be back in some capacity tomorrow. Let's start right away with yet another highlight of practice that involves who else? Tua and Tyreek Hill, basically for the second straight day connecting on a long bomb. This one is a 50-yard touchdown down the left sideline against Falcons cornerback Mike Hughes. We've got video of it right here that we will show. Tua flips those hips, gets a lot of power behind that one. Good air into that one. Hill's got his guy beat, catches it around the 5, and the momentum takes care of it from there. Got a nice little celebration at the end of that one as well. We'll play it one more time for good measure. Can never see something like that too many times, right, Dolphins fans? A thing of beauty, a thing that we've gotten used to seeing from our new highly paid quarterback and, yeah, another highly paid wide receiver, #1 in the NFL based on the NFL Top 100 list. I should note that it sounds like Mike Hughes did get some revenge later in practice where the Falcons brought some pressure. Tua threw it hot. He threw it to Cracraft. He ended up throwing an out, and Cracraft ran an in. Sounds like Cracraft probably did the right thing. There was an opening in. He made himself a target. Tua just ended up making the wrong play through the out. Mike Hughes made a good play. And it actually should be noted as well that some of the reporters had it as Hughes. Some people had it at Elford. Regardless, ended up resulting in a good play for the Falcons defense and not so great play from Tua and the Dolphins offense. They did 2-minute drills at the very end of practice once again today. Both the first teams for Dolphins and the Falcons offense got a rip. Tua's 2-minute drill didn't get out to the greatest start. The first play resulted in a sack. Kendall Lamb kind of missed the cornerback blitzing. I believe that was Hughes. He should have slid in protection and got in the way of Mike Hughes. He didn't. Tua takes the sack on first down. Luckily for the Dolphins offense, they overcome that. They get back-to-back completions to get a first down. The next play is a completion to Durham Smythe where he gets out of bounds. From there, River Cracraft caught a pass to get them down to about the 32, 33-yard line. The Dolphins offense sprints up to the ball. They clock it, get the field goal unit out there. Jason Sanders rips the 50-yarder for the hypothetical win in that situation. So good to see the offense responding in the 2-minute drill. Should also note that Kirk Cousins basically did the same thing. He led the Falcons down to the 20-yard line where they made their game-winning field goal. The good thing, though, is that by all accounts, that was really the only impressive drive from Kirk Cousins and that first-team Falcons offense of the entire day. We'll chat more about that here in a little bit. And then outside of the 2-minute drill, Mike White was noted with completions of 10-plus yards to both Malik Washington and Jaquan Burton later in practice before they started that drill. Let's go through some of the positions, players of note today. In the situational drill, the ball was in the red zone on the 12-yard line. Devon Achane got the carry. Some have him going in for 6, especially if it would have been an actual game situation. Other people had him out at the 5 after key blocks by Alec Ingold and Julian Hill. Regardless, positive play for your Dolphins offense there. Alec Ingold was noted for another key block on a run that sprang Achane around the corner earlier in practice. And then also in red zone work, Raheem Mostert caught a touchdown from Tua Tagovailoa, got a lead block on a tunnel screen from Durham Smythe. We talked about Waddle not participating today, giving other wide receivers an opportunity to really shine. And we saw the long highlight touchdown to Tyreek. Other than that, though, there was a very reliable wide receiver today, and he goes by the name of River Cracraft. He was noted with 3 20-yard completions. Each of the quarterbacks had one of those 20-yard completions. He also caught a touchdown from Tua late in practice in red zone work. Like I said, by all accounts, it sounds like River Cracraft was likely your offensive player of the day. Same cannot be said, however, for Willie Snead. He got open 25 yards down the field, was wide open. Skyler missed the throw. Sounds like he underthrew it a little bit, which led to some moans and groans from those in attendance. Skyler kind of got a little revenge. He put one right on his chest later in practice, hit Snead right in the chest, bounced off for a drop. Did get a little revenge catching one from Tua for a sizable game in team drills. I'm also going to note that my connection said that Malik Washington had one of his better practices of this training camp. He was even noted for making a key block on a positive play for the Dolphins offense. Moving over to the tight ends, not too much in that department today. Julian Hill caught back-to-back passes from Tua early in practice. Durham Smythe unfortunately got called for a holding play where Tua was flushed out of the pocket. Regardless, I am excited to watch these tight ends on Friday, especially Tanner Connor, Julian Hill, Jody Fortson. That battle is going to come down to the end of training camp. We talked about that question mark, though. That remains a question mark, and you know that means the Miami Dolphins offensive line. Let's start with a positive, because Travis Wingfield noted one of the Falcons' edge players trying to cross the face of Patrick Paul. Paul said not happening today. Basically took him straight to the ground, sprung a big run through that gap. Like I said, there's always a however, or there's always a but when it comes to the Dolphins offensive line, because Paul was then noted for a holding call on a carry by Jalen. Right. That's obviously a negative, but it really sounds like Patrick Paul has put some practices together. Patrick Paul practices. He's put those together here over the last week or so, probably right there with Kendall Lamb when you're looking at that backup left tackle position. Like I said, another guy I'm definitely excited to watch on Friday. A couple more offensive line notes. Lester Cotton noted for opening a big hole on a longer run by Jeff Wilson. And then both Robert Jones and Jack Driscoll got beat on plays that ended up in tackles for a loss. The offensive line also gave up a red zone sack on Tua later in practice. Like I said, it sounds like they had their moments today, but still more questionable play than good or solid play when you're looking at an entire unit. The one thing we do need to keep in mind, though, it's not really the true complete unit. Teron Armstead, like I said, not participating in team drills. There's your left tackle. Isaiah Wynn remains on the PUP. There's your left guard. So they're beating up on these left tackles, the Keon Smiths of the world, the Kendall Lamb. Every once in a while, it's Patrick Paul. Still a big weakness. These guys are still one injury away from needing to play. So that's something that we're going to have to clean up. Man, I'm a broken record. Every single time we talk about the offensive line, we're talking about stuff we need to clean up, because it sounds like the Falcons blitzing is what gave the Dolphins their biggest issues. And that's communication stuff. That's just mental stuff, picking up the right guy kind of things that can be fixed. But at the end of the day, you got to fix them. Let's go on to the Miami Dolphins defense. The defense in general, reports have the Dolphins defense basically being the biggest winner of the day. The Falcons' first 8 plays of team drills totaled 8 yards. That's pretty damn good for your Dolphins defense. Zach Sealer got in for a sack on Kirk Cousins. Tierra Tart had a day. He got through the line of scrimmage early for a tackle for a loss on Algier. Also added a quarterback pressure on Kirk Cousins. Man, every single time we have one of these and we talk about the edge players, it's just more good stuff. Quentin Bell was noted again for a nice pressure on the quarterback. Chop Robinson lined up in the inside on one of the plays earlier in practice. Got in for a big tackle for a loss. So he's doing stuff on the outside and the inside. Chop was also noted for forcing a quick incompletion on a play where he got around the edge with that speed that we're all well aware of, and he took that running back right into the quarterback. So he's getting it done in a bunch of different ways. Grayson Murphy, once again, credited with the sack. He drew a holding penalty today as well. Like we've talked about with him, though, he's just got so many damn guys in front of him right now. So if not the 53-man roster, maybe there's some practice squad possibilities there as well. Adam Beasley noted David Long for a number of run stops and strong plays and coverage as well. He even had a should-be interception in his hands. He ended up dropping it, and then Duke Riley actually did the same thing, and Duke Riley was in the team's orange jersey today. Finishing up with the secondary, Jalen Ramsey and Kendall Fuller, both noted with pass breakups early in practice. Kendall Fuller's came in a one-on-one situation with Kyle Pitts. Jalen Ramsey also came on a blitz early in practice and swatted the ball down at the line of scrimmage. So that's a couple of days now where Jalen Ramsey is making plays as a blitzer, which is music to Dolphins' ears, getting to use him to his full potential. Should note that Kendall Fuller did later get beat by Drake London for about 18 yards on a throw from Kirk Cousins, noted as the only completion by Kirk Cousins that traveled more than 15 yards in the air. And a secondary note, that was the play that led to like the mini brawl that you may hear about. It sounds like Drake London and Ethan Bonner sort of got into it. Benches clearing, it all a whole lot of nothing going on there by all accounts. Javon Holland had a near interception late in practice. However, a little friendly fire there with Kendall Fuller jarred the ball loose. Marcus May had a touchdown-saving pass breakup on a Cousins pass in red zone work. And then Saran Neal was beat for a 40-yard completion by Michael Penix. Good thing is that it came on the boundary where I don't really ever anticipate seeing Saran Neal when the plays actually matter. So I'm not too broken up about that one. And then last note here, Storm Duck noted for making a run stop near the line of scrimmage. He's been making plays in both the run and the pass game so far in camp. Going to be interesting to see how this cornerback room shakes out as well when it's time to make these final cuts. Dolphins fans, that is what I have got for today. Like I said, get subscribed if you haven't done so already. Obviously, we will be back on Wednesday. Get the days of the week mixed up here. We'll be back on Wednesday doing the same thing, recapping practice report number 2 with the Atlanta Falcons, and then obviously everything leading up to that Friday preseason opener as well. Drop your comments, drop your thoughts. We'll take it from there, Dolphins fans. Until next time, Fins